Welcome to 11 on 11 here on THV 11 Plus. I'm Ashley King, and we start today with an update to a story we've been following nearly a decade after a Benton police officer shot and killed a teenager on this family's long legal fight that now appears to be over. THV 11's Carter Thweet takes a closer look at the many turns in the Keagan Schweikle case since that deadly encounter in 2016.
It's been nearly 10 years since 17-year-old Keagan Schweikle was shot and killed by police, and it's been nearly 9 since his mother Piper and father Dominic sued Benton police and the city.
Why did not the police department explore other avenues, setting up a perimeter, immediately calling a crisis intervention officer to come speak with Keagan?
Court documents say Schweikle's mother called police on October 17, 2016, saying Keagan was suicidal and had entered the woods with a gun. Police responded to the 1200 block of River Oaks Drive, finding Schweikle with a gun to his head. Officer Kyle Ellison ordered Schweikle to drop the gun. As he moved it away from his head, Ellison shot him.
Keagan was in a wooded area. He was in no danger to anybody but himself.
A federal judge moved to dismiss the case twice, but was told no by a higher court both times. So finally in 2024, the family got a trial, and a jury found that while Ellison did not use excessive force, he was trained poorly, ordering the city and former police chief Kirk Lane to pay the family $32 million.
We've been through the emotions so many times, and that was the hardest thing about the trial, is having to relive those moments of Keagan's death.
But now that $32 million won't be paid. Both a district court and then the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals found that the ruling was flawed.
What you have are regular everyday folks saying, well, the police chief was at fault, but the officer was not at fault. And then the judges step in at each level and say, sorry, that's not how our law operates. If you don't find the police officer liable, you can't find the police chief and the police department liable.
Finally, the family took their case to the U.S. Supreme Court, but on Monday it officially declined to hear it. For THV 11 News, I'm Carter Thweet.
Carter, thank you. He also spoke with Keagan's father, Dominic Schweikle, who says the original jury made its decision for a reason, and he's disappointed with the latest ruling. A troubling incident for drivers who use I-40 through North Little Rock. One person is recovering after a road rage shooting. Troopers say it happened Monday morning around 8:30 near the North Hills exit. Investigators have not released any names and are still working to learn what led up to the shooting. The person shot is expected to be okay. That incident is renewing concerns about driver safety. Now experts are urging drivers to stay calm and avoid situations that can quickly turn dangerous. THV 11's Carter Thweet explains the steps that can help keep tensions from boiling over on the road.
Arkansas State Police say someone fired shots in this area Monday morning near the North Hills Boulevard exit on I-40 in what appears to be a road rage incident.
There's a lot of different times throughout our classes and throughout our education that we talk through road rage.
Brock Thompson with Thompson Driving School in Little Rock says it's something every driver needs to take seriously.
You don't want to insinuate that it's me or them kind of scenario. And that's where it really gets elevated, when the emotion gets to the point where it's, I'm going to win.
Thompson isn't the only one offering advice on the subject. In a press release last year, Arkansas State Police said they investigate multiple road rage incidents every day, with many of them involving weapons. They urge drivers to avoid engaging with others, put as much space between you and them as possible, and never ever confront another driver because they could be armed.
When it does get to the point where it is road rage, you don't want to have eye contact. You want to minimize your exposure, change lanes, turn, get out of that situation, because it's not a win-win scenario. It's a you get home kind of scenario.
And if you think you might be on the other side of road rage, leave early and put yourself in a situation to minimize the frustration.
Avoid rush hour, avoid situations that would be frustration, would cause somebody to have some level of anger.
As for Monday's incident, police say one person was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Investigators have not identified a suspect. in Little Rock. Carter Thweet, THV 11 News.
Thank you, Carter. Police in Pine Bluff cleared the air today after one of its officers shot himself in the leg over the weekend. A release said Officer Dante Nicholson arrived at a traffic stop, and while getting out of his own patrol car, his pistol and holster fell off his belt, going off as he tried to catch it. The bullet hit him in the right leg. The release from the department said he spent a few hours getting treated in the hospital that night, and he is still off the job recovering, but is expected to return. Protesters in Little Rock are pushing back against a proposed AI data center in southeast Little Rock. Google needs a permit from the Army Corps of Engineers to actually build it. About 24 people showed up at the Corps' headquarters Wednesday to raise concerns about water, power, and possible higher utility bills. The Corps will review the project's impact on nearby water systems before deciding whether to issue the permit.
I know that they are getting a lot of pressure, both from Google and from our city leaders, to pass whatever Google has given them. And we are here to encourage them to do a really thorough study and to be true to themselves and true to the people of Little Rock.
Depending on the feedback, the district supervisor could call for a public hearing or order Google to modify its permit request. There's a link for you to comment in the digital version of this story on our website. An anonymous donor has pledged $3 million to keep PBS operating in Arkansas. But there is a catch. THV 11's Maya Ellison talked to Arkansas TV leadership to find out if this multi-million-dollar lifeline is enough to keep Daniel Tiger on the air in your neighborhood.
Because a lot of people don't realize that the entire world of public television and public radio changed with those federal funding cuts that took place back in July.
It's a timeline Arkansas TV CEO Carlton Wing says has been put on hold for now. Last year, public broadcasting faced drastic financial strain as hundreds of millions were cut from the industry nationwide, leaving stations like Arkansas PBS scrambling to fill the void. That's when the Arkansas TV Commission voted to end its membership with PBS to keep them away from bankruptcy, prioritizing local operations.
When the feds were providing our funding, 20% of our funding came from the federal government. That's what went away. That was $2.5 million that went away.
But just as the transition began, a lifeline appeared. An anonymous donor has pledged $3 million to keep PBS in the natural state. But Wing emphasizes this isn't a simple check. It's a challenge.
Well, it's not a donation, it's a pledge, and it's a challenge grant. So what they're saying is if there are matching funds, then they will contribute $1 million per year. So the match has to be acquired.
The conversation has even reached the state capitol Wednesday. Lawmakers reviewed Senate Bill 77, a separate way to match donated funds. But while the state provides core funding, the station still relies on individual donations for about 14% of its revenue.
More people are talking about public television now than ever before, and that's a good thing because it gives us an opportunity to really assess what's valuable about public television. Why is it different? How is it different than commercial television?
So, the final piece of the puzzle now lies in the hands of the viewers.
If those funds were acquired so that it eliminated the financial issue that we have been saying all along with the loss of the federal funding cuts, and then if the commission decided what to do with the options that they have.
In Conway, Maya Ellison, THV 11 News.
A new era for Watson Chapel starts now. Leaders and community members got a chance to step inside the district's brand new campus today. What it means for students this fall. Welcome back. People in Jacksonville are adjusting after Unity Health shut down emergency services at its local facility last week. Officials say patients will now have to travel to other hospitals for emergency care. A change some worry could limit access, especially for more vulnerable populations. THV 11's Maya Ellison looks at what this means for the community and what comes next.
So usually the parking lot was full all the way across. Well, I say there's always cars going back and forth, up and down, coming So it was busy.
Now, that traffic has slowed after Unity Health announced last week it would end emergency services at its Jacksonville location.
I was kind of sad about it because it's a convenient thing to have our patients go over there.
Nicole Hunt works at the primary care facility across from the hospital. She says the change could make it harder for patients to access care, with the nearest emergency rooms now farther away.
It kind of puts us into stress.
Unity Health, this is Victoria. How may I help you?
We reached out to Unity Health for comment.
Marketing department at Unity Health.
Actually, I was a little surprised. We had no knowledge, no warning, that it was going to be happening.
Jacksonville Mayor Jeff Elmore says he's been told the decision was driven in part by financial challenges.
There were so many patients that were going to the emergency room, but using it basically as their primary care physician. And they would not have insurance, but they're not going to be turned away, services at an emergency room.
He says losing the ER could have serious consequences for the community.
It's an understatement to say, oh, it's not a big deal. No, it is a big deal because you're dealing with people's lives. In some of those situations, time is of the essence. And, a difference in minutes could mean literal difference between life and death.
Now, Unity Health took over the facility 3 years ago after North Metro Medical Center closed. Now, officials say the facility will shift focus to behavioral health services.
Once you had those conversations, where do we go from here?
Unity hasn't gone anywhere. They're still here. They're offering services, but it's just not the emergency room. They are focusing on psychiatric care, mental health.
In Jacksonville, Maya Ellison, THV 11 News.
And today marks a new chapter in Watson Chapel Wildcats history. Beginning this fall, students and faculty will have an all-new state-of-the-art campus. Today, city leaders, stakeholders, and community members came together to celebrate this new beginning. THV 11's Tamer Knight takes us inside the new school.
A legacy of excellence dating back to its founding in 1890, Watson Chapel High celebrated its new building with a ribbon-cutting ceremony.
On a day like today, it's great to be a Wildcat.
City leaders say the new school will create opportunities to motivate and elevate scholars to a higher level of success.
That history represents excellence, it represents hard work, it represents the pride that we are trying to continue to try to instill, but yet elevate our scholars.
Superintendent Dr. Keith McGee says the district and architects were intentional in designing the school.
And we took every elective, every future courses that we want to offer, our current courses from science rooms, our science labs, and how do we strengthen that, but how do we also be prepared to offer new innovative courses, robotics, communication, radio and television, the state-of-the-art facilities.
The new state-of-the-art facility features a new courtyard, gym, storm safe room, and enhanced security with bullet-resistant window film, with safety as the top priority.
In our old high school, or current high school, is just kind of open. It's now going to be enclosed so that we can be able to supervise and monitor them, and we control that piece right there.
The high school represents progress and pride for years to come.
That motivates me even more to get my degree, to really try and motivate my other students, my classmates, to do their best while I do my best in our school and continue having Wildcat pride.
Students were elated to have the support of stakeholders and the community as part of the school's new beginnings.
And it just means a lot because that shows that they care about how the students are doing. They care about our learning. They care about what we can put out. And that makes me feel like that we should try harder to put out, show them that their investments aren't going to waste.
They say they're excited for a fresh start.
I am running for class president for next year. And next year we will be in this new building, so I'm very, very excited. I'll hope to be the next class president.
Students will begin classes in the new building this August. For THV 11 News, I'm Tamer Knight.
A museum in Little Rock dedicated to African American history is preserving powerful stories and culture. And we sat down with one of the leaders behind the Mosaic Templars Cultural Center coming up. But first, it's time to eat it up.
Oh my gosh. Get the biscuits, get the biscuits, get the biscuits, get the biscuits. Headlines. This week on Eat It Up, we are back in Conway, the city of roundabouts, right by a roundabout, by the way, at Roost and Tap. Y'all, this spot is brand new and it is popular. Folks going in left and right, mainly because of the amazing rotisserie chicken, the fried chicken, down-home southern food, mac and cheese, greens, amazing cocktails as well. I cannot wait to show you this new place in Hendricks Village. So what do you say? Let's eat it up!
So I called some friends and some people that I just knew would might be interested, and they all were like, yes, let's do this. And brought together a menu and a design concept that I've been working on for years. It's a combination of just different things in my travels that I thought Conway didn't have, and I wanted to bring this experience to Conway. Southern comfort food. You know, if Grandma, who's cooking you dinner every Sunday, went to culinary school and came back, what would change on that? Just, you know, she's not gonna change everything. She ain't gonna touch her mac and cheese or whatever, right? But there's some things she's just gonna like, I'm gonna throw some white cheddar in this or some truffle on this, because she's learned these new techniques and she's applying them to old school techniques. What I'm doing now isn't just chicken and beer, but to pay homage to it, I was like, well, how can I elevate chicken and beer? And you know, Roost was a play on chicken, you know, roosters or roost house, and then Tap, you know, craft and tap beer or craft food. So I was like, all right, so that fits all of the goals here. One of my favorites is the blackened chop. We call it the chop. It's something that I ran into, a chef in New Orleans was making it, and I was like, this is so good. A blackened bone-in pork ribeye over our yellow mashed potatoes with a red pepper jelly, and I'm serving it with our lemon garlic broccolini, al dente, apple butter biscuits. So we take the apple butter, we create our own apple butter glaze, we glaze these biscuits and bake them fresh every day. And you walk in the restaurant, the first thing you're gonna see is a rotisserie machine behind the window going. Yeah, because that's one of the things I wanted. I wanted to bring some real deal rotisserie, and so I can't wait for you guys to try that as well. Serving that with our gumbo greens. I think we are at least in the top 3 to 5 in Arkansas on fried chicken. I stand behind this fried chicken. I think it's great, so I hope you guys love it as much as I do.
These biscuits, you can smell them and you know they're gonna be amazing. Quite literally, the ones that your grandmama made when you went to Mama's house, just dripping right off. That sauce right there dripping right off. So savory. The flavor on there, you're not beating that. We love catfish here on Eat It Up. Dipping right in that tartar sauce. We came here for the Roost, the cast iron skillet in Mama's kitchen. That's exactly what this chicken is. Now, I cannot get enough of greens. Charles, cheers. Thank goodness you're here in Arkansas. Cheers.
Welcome back. This week, our Red, White, and You series continues. An effort to highlight people in your neighborhoods to celebrate America's 250th birthday. And as we highlight Arkansans who embody the spirit of America, our very own Hayden Balgavy went just down the road from the THV 11 studio to see how historian Brian Rogers is building a brighter future while honoring the past.
Whether you're young or not as young, being a student of history knows no age.
Celebrating America 250 requires that we celebrate African American history on this continent as well.
Brian Rogers is a gatekeeper to that history here in Little Rock.
African men and women have served this country all the way back to the Revolutionary War.
Through his work with the Mosaic Templars Cultural Center, Rogers highlights the impact Little Rock has played in our country's past.
I think about the civil rights movement, and I think about how important it is to share with people that the civil rights movement was happening here in Little Rock as well. And that's just a microcosm of African American history in our state, in our city as a whole.
Not just the history of the Little Rock Nine, but black sports, food, and culture passed down from generation to generation.
Some of the same kids that are coming in year after year, and to see their growth and to see what they remember from their last visit, it helps me to feel like what I'm doing matters, and that we're gonna get up every morning and continue to do it.
It's not just history, but the future as well. Rogers' dedication to rebuilding historic 9th Street and Juneteenth celebrations that have exploded over the past decade.
Juneteenth was one block. We may have had 1,000, 1,500 people during the course of the day. Now we're covering 5, 6 blocks, and we had 10,000 people last year.
A summer celebration of African American history, a wonderful reminder at how far we have come as a country and continue to grow each and every day through the help of the Mosaic Templars Cultural Center.
They saw this gallery and they wept. They cried because they never could have imagined what their work would become.
And that is going to do it for us here on 11 on 11 on THV 11 Plus. Be sure to join us again next time.